Before we go into the main episode, I want to talk a little bit about privacy in the UK, more specifically Investigatory Powers Bill, which UK pretty much has passed now into a law. The bill made it all the way to the last stage, which is called Royal Assent, which means the monarch must approve any bills into becoming a law. Unfortunately, the last time the bill was refused to become a law was in 1707, and for the past 300 years this was not an issue. Most of the articles on this topic are quite broad. There are lots and lots of text about it. Basically vaguely says something like they will be able to see your browser history and so on. Here is a super brief presentation on what this bill actually means and how this affects you, a resident of the UK. If you're not a resident of the UK, it still affects you in a way that the spies of the UK will now have legal power to hack your computers or companies. But that, shouldn't concern you anyway, because there are lots of spies around anyway. But if you're a resident of the UK and you're a taxpayer, you're actually sponsoring this whole program. And this is what exactly you're sponsoring. The internet service providers will now have to store your browsing history for at least a year and present this history on request to a bunch of different state agencies. Agencies including Ministry of Defense, Department of Health, Ministry of Justice, National Crime Agency. The list is pretty long and most likely is incomplete. Suddenly, lots and lots of people in the UK working for the government are empowered to see your browsing history of the internet for past year. What can they learn from it? Quite a lot actually, but most importantly, this means that you don't have any privacy at all when browsing the internet while in the UK. Doesn't matter if you browse it on a desktop or on a mobile, your browsing history, meaning the address you request, will be in the logs and will be accessible by any of those state agencies. You might ask yourself, hey, there is a protected internet when you access the internet page with HTTPS in it and a padlock icon. This will not help you. The browsing history will still be intercepted. When you make a secure request to the internet, even with a padlock, in order for padlock to appear, your browser still needs to make a request to a certain address, which is completely interceptable. The address you request will be recorded and stored for later access. How about the VPN? The VPN, something that will still work for a while, because when you browse the internet, browser will make a request first to your VPN provider and only then the VPN provider will make a request for you. This leaves the VPN provider the point of access to your browsing history. As long as your VPN provider doesn't keep any logs, you are fine for now. There is an extra part to this bill which tells that companies must be able to decrypt user traffic when practicable. Deliberately vague wording around this. What's next? The UK most likely will become the first country in the world to legalize tracking of its own residents on internet. Pretty much everything will be tracked and accessible by the government agencies. You might say, but hey, GCHQ and NSA are tracking us anyway, who cares? The only thing I learned about this information is it leaks. This information will leak eventually, and there will be sites, like in the same example, when lots and lots of username and passwords are leaking, like millions of them, and then they become available on the public internet to anyone who wants to access it. Or if you're willing to pay a little bit of money for this information. Information costs usually quite a lot, and the privacy is the modern currency in which you pay for services like Gmail and Facebook. What can you do? You can Google VPN provider and pick a favorite provider and start using it. Try finding the one that doesn't keep any logs, just in case. All in all, privacy is a valuable thing. You should look after it. It's yours. Everyone else will try to steal it from you. Back to the episode. Good morning and welcome to this Friday edition of the video log. It's amazing sunshine and very, very chilly. A new site and we are having a celebratory launch now. Probably burgers. Check out the sun and the blue sky and the skyscraper.
This would be
£16 for a pint.
16?
Yeah, over here. Not even a pint, half a pint.
It's a salt.
Well, that's like a bottle of wine, 11%.
This was a huge success. Okay, it's late, it's dark. Let's cycle to Walthamstow now.